This is Karen O'Brien, and I need to make a video to remind myself how to connect my QGIS Python to my PyCharm Python. And I always forget how to do this, and so then I break my documentation whenever I try to update QGIS. I break my PyCharm links and stuff. So what I'm going to do is a video to try and document this process so we can figure it out in the future. So first of all, let's talk about QGIS installation. So this is my QGIS folder. I use the network installer for QGIS. That's for my home installations on my work computer. I use the network installer. Typically for my class installations, I use the standalone installer. So this is the standalone installer, and this is the network installer. And if you click on the network installer, it's going to download a, let's see if I can grab my download folder real quick. It's going to download this file right here. And when you run it, it's going to start a process to install QGIS on your computer, but it's a little bit more sophisticated than like the standalone installer. So let's run through that real quick. So once you install QGIS on your computer, the installation goes to your C drive, OSGEO4W. So which is cool because it's like isolated and it doesn't have any interaction with any of your other files. And if you need to, like, if you break it, you can just delete this folder and you can install it again. And then it also installs some shortcuts to all of the tools that you would use with QGIS. So, for example, the shell, grass, the Qt designer, which is, I think this is the Qt designer for, so you can build windows and things for your plugin development. Saga, which is just some more GIS tools. And then, of course, the QGIS desktop version 3.36 and 3.47 is the long-term release. So that if you want to start QGIS, you can just start them from this folder right here, or you can just start them from your search menu, however you like to do that. And once you're in here in QGIS, you get all of these apps. And I have these two additional apps that you won't see because I built these apps following instructions from a class from a school called Geospatial School. So Geospatial School, let me see if I can. Yeah, Geospatial School has some instructions on how to build these two batch processors that set your paths and everything if you're doing development. So I can't share that with you because it's not my that's not my work. But Geospatial School has this excellent class called plugin development. And so if you want to do plugin development or learn how to like start PyCharm so that it's connected to QGIS, he builds these two batch files that show you how to do that. And so you can sign up for that school and learn how to build these two batch processors. But I can't share that with you because that's not my work. So, but what I can share with you is once you're in QGIS, how to connect PyCharm to your system. So here's what I have here. There's my PyCharm folder. And this is my documentation where I maintain the documentation for the plugin. This will be the plugin documentation. And I've been working on it and fixing images and things like that, connections. So I need to reinstall it and kind of start it over. So I'm going to go to the Python, or sorry, excuse me, the documentation, GitHub documentation repository, and I'm going to get the link that will clone this repository. And then I need to start Python from this. Let's see if I go to this OSGEO folder, which is C drive. Oh, actually, sorry, before I do that, I'm going to delete this one. So I'm going to delete this project right here so that I can rebuild it. This is in my PyCharm project folder list, and I use PyCharm IDE to develop, to do plugin and documentation development. And so if you go to C drive and you run OSGEO4W and you run the PyCharm bat, and again, Geospatial School will show you what it takes to build this. This is just going to open PyCharm and connect it to QGIS. And now here's what I need to do. Okay, so like I deleted that project. So I'm just going to remove that from the project list. And I'm going to click Get from VCS. And this is, I think, Python 2023.3.2. So it's a little old, but it works. So I'm not going to update it. And then I put that URL in there from my repository. And this is where I want that to be saved. And I click clone, and that's going to quickly download that that code into this computer. Now, the thing that I always forget is how to set up the virtual environment. And so that's what I'm going to show in this video. Okay, so it says that I have well, sorry, it's actually giving me the wrong interpreter, so fine, that's cool. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a new interpreter. And I've already done it once, so really all I have to do is change the interpreter, and it's just that quick. But I had to build that interpreter this morning, so that's what I want to show. So if you click on that and you click Add a new interpreter, add a local interpreter, and then you want to go to System Interpreter, and then just navigate to this is your OSGEO, your new interpreter. So this morning I was running 3.9 and that was working fine, but now I need to run Python 3.2 or 3.12 instead of 3.9. I need to run 3.12, and so all I do is go to this OSGEO bin Python QGIS and pick up this bat file and click OK and click OK again, and now that Python interpreter is being configured. Actually, I didn't need two of them, so I'm just going to put it back to the regular one. And now that is building this Python right here. So my Python is now part of my project as a virtual terminal or it's either a virtual terminal or a local Python or a virtual Python. You can do it either way. And that means that now it's connected to the same version of Python as I'm running for QGIS, which is the key to plugin development. But this is not for the plugin. This is for documentation. So it doesn't really need all that. It can use pretty much any version of Python that you want. Now, we need a couple of more things, okay? So I use Sphinx docs to build my documentation. So we need to install Sphinx. So that is where the OSGEO shell comes into play. So if you are on your OSGEO shell, you can grab that right here, your OSGEO shell, and you can run it here. And then what you need to do is just do o-help, and it'll show you all the commands that you can use. And in here you can see that there is a pip command. Where did it go? Well, it's in here somewhere. I can't see it, but it's in here. And that is the Python library installer. So if you need to add modules to Python, so you'll be doing pip install, and then I use Sphinx. And then, of course, it's already been installed, so it's just going to tell me that, hey, you're already using it. And then I do pip install Sphinx book theme, and again, already done. And then pip install Sphinx RTD theme, and now I can call on the Sphinx commands to build my documentation. And the Sphinx commands are run from, well, you can either run them from that terminal, but you have to change your path, or you can run them from this terminal. So now if you open the Python terminal that's on the IDE, when you first install PyCharm, it's going to default you to the PowerShell as your terminal. But you can add a terminal, you can fix that. So you can add a different terminal, or you can use the PowerShell, Windows PowerShell, or maybe if you're on Linux, it's going to use a different terminal. It's just going to use a different command window. So what we want to do is go to File, Settings, and then in the Settings window, just type in Terminal. And then you'll just click on Terminal, and you'll just set it to the terminal that you want to use. Now in this case, I have put in the PyQGIS terminal that I learned how to build in that class, Geospatial School. But you can just set it to this terminal right. You can either set it to this terminal here, or you can maybe set it to this terminal here. I don't know if you need the shortcut or not, but you can set it to that terminal, or you can set it to just your standard Windows command terminal, whatever you want. And I'll click OK. And now I have a terminal that can process those Sphinx commands. So the Sphinx commands, if you're using the PowerShell, it's going to be Sphinx build doc something is your command. But if you're using the regular command window, the Windows command window, it's just you have to change your path. So cd docs, because my documentation path is here. And what it's looking for is this guy's source and these guys right here. It's looking for this make file so that has the commands in it. So this is make HTML, and that will start to build the HTML files. And I've got some errors. That's why I'm doing this, because I'm trying to fix some errors. And I messed up my Python installation, and I mixed up my Sphinx installation, so I wanted to catch a video on how to rebuild it. And then these guys, the make.bat and the makefile required.txt, and then there's one more in here that you build all of these guys when you're building your Sphinx documentation, and there's all kinds of videos to show you how to do that, but I wanted to just give you just an outline of what is in these videos. So the make.bat, it gets built when you first set up your documentation using the Sphinx setup. And then the make file, same thing, but it might be looking a little bit different when you do your setup. And then your requirements.txt, these are the 3 themes that I installed, but I also want to use this one, but later. I use this one locally, not online. And then the conf.py will just set up that Sphinx documentation locations. This is like the name of my document that'll be reported into, automatically reported into my documentation. And I don't know what the exclude is. Tells you the theme that I want to use. And then I think there's a couple of issues here. These are not really set up right, but everything's working, so I'm not just going to ignore it for now. And then if you're building like document, like I can build HTML with this Sphinx docs, or I can convert this back to Windows documents, and that's what this code is for. And okay, and that's it. So I'm going to close these 4 things, and I'm going to open this locally. So if this is my HTML, this thing that goes on to the GitHub Pages website. And so I'm just going to open that, and then I want to open my documentation locally on Chrome, Windows Chrome, or Google Chrome, sorry, Google Chrome. Or you can do it on any of these other, I wouldn't do it here, but you can do it on any of these other guys. And now I'm going to start fixing all of these errors and things that I get when I make this documentation. That's the purpose of this. Okay, now the next thing that happens after you kind of get to a place where you want to, where you want to start fixing things, you come into your Git thing and you start to set up a new branch. So this will be a new branch from master, and I'm going to call the branch fix images. And this is actually fix images part 2, because as you can see, I've already done it once, and now I am going to do it again. So I'm going to call this fix images 2 and click create, and that is rebuilding the branch here on my computer. And now what I need to do is, let's see, I need to close this file and open the source file, and the image's location, the place where I'm fixing images, is here. And so what I can do is I can do something to any of these files, like just make a minor little change on any of these files. Like I'm just going to hit a space key here. And then what that's done is that's modified this file. And so what I want to do is just commit that change. And if I commit that change, oh, sorry, I need a commit message. I'm going to call this commit test, just to show you. And then I commit this, and now that change has been modified on this branch and updated on my PyCharm projects, which are right here. So the work that I need to do in my PyCharm projects is actually going to be a lot easier to do in Notepad++. So when I do that work in Notepad++, it's going to accept it. And basically what I have is I have this right here where I have this 115-115, and I need to get rid of that everywhere. So I just Control F, find in files, and I want this to go to this will go to PyCharm, documentation, docs, source 115, and I want to set this as the search for the find and replace. And then what I need to find is this. I need to find this, and I need to convert it to, so let's do this. Let's click copy, because I accidentally wrote that twice, and find that, and then convert it to this, and rename everything. And I'm only going to search in the files that end in .rst, and I'm only going to search in this one path, and then I'm going to click find all. And there's not a ton of them, there's just a few of them. And then I'm going to click, sorry, let's get back here to Control H, and then I'm going to click replace all. And now I'm going to close that, and let's see, I don't know that I want to hit, I guess I don't know what I did to this, so I'm not sure I want to hit save, but I'll just hit save. Now when I go to back here to PyCharm, I mean I could have done that in PyCharm, I just don't know how very easily. And so when I go in here to PyCharm, I should see that that work should have been already changed in here too. But it isn't, so where was it changed at? Commit. So let me see if we go here, and we need to go to, oh, that was only in one spot. Alright, so we need to go to this index file under installation instructions. Okay, so that's 115 installation index, and these are now all, no, they're actually not all updated. Let's update this one. Okay. But the rest of them are fixed except for that one. Okay, so let's see what's in our commit. Oh, I see. It's because I only changed one file. I thought I changed a bunch more. Okay, so those doubles were only in there. And then I'm going to click commit. And now that should be committed everywhere. And then no matter where I fix it or look at it, it's going to be updated in here. It's going to be updated in my project list. And then the last thing that I can do is push that to I'll just hit commit, or let's just do git, and then we will, whoops, sorry, git, and then we will push that commit test to the remote repository. Come back to the remote repository, and you can see that you have it here. Fix images 2, do a pull request, and then you can see like what changes you made. It's going to look for conflicts, and then you can see the changes that you made if you go here and one commit ahead, and these are the changes that we made to fix those images. And so I click View Pull Request, and I can merge it, and then in about 5 minutes that will be posted to the online documentation. And that is basically it. So if this helps you in any way, yay, but this really is just more for me. So if you stumble upon this and it's completely confusing, I'm sorry.